What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by a true international icon in the game, Maestro Fresh West. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Thanks for having me. We made it happen.
Yes, yes. Very excited. Been listening to you since the 80s, since early in the game. So we'll start with that and then get into some of the new things got going on. But for me, I was first getting in touch with you with the Symphony in Effect, Drop the Needle, Let Your Backbone Slide, all that early stuff. So I'm from Maryland, born and raised, lived there until I moved to LA. But in Maryland, those two songs, especially on the video shows, got a lot of exposure. So, and unfortunately, wasn't able to read too much about you in real time back then. So I wanted to know how long or what happened to where you were able to really get on and make those videos and drop the needle so early and get it into the United States so early.
Okay, so just like how New York City has a very interesting history when it comes to hip hop and other, regions like, Texas or Los Angeles or Virginia, what have you. We started from the bottom. Now we're here. So I'm saying like in the 1970s, late 70s, that's what really started with hip hop in Toronto. That's where I'm born and raised. Right? And back in the days, we had sound crews. So crews like Sunshine, TKO, Chic Dynasty, Kilowatt. Those were the sound crews that were known in the late 70s, early 80s. So for you saying I got on early, I was considered old school by 1987 in Toronto. So not
Wow.
1997, not 1997, not 2007, 1987, people started calling me old because in Toronto, I was known since like 82, 83, 84, 85, like them years, you know? So I was considered old. So we got a history, man. We got to say like there's artists like, the Dream Warriors, Michi Me, LA Love. They're from Toronto as well, you know? Um, we had a radio show back in the days called the Fantastic Voice Program. You know, like in how New York had like Mr. Magic and like um, Red Alert. We had a brother by the name of Ron Nelson, and he didn't just have a radio show on Saturday afternoons. He also started promoting a lot of concerts and stuff as well. So those concerts, he was bringing people over from the states like Biz Markie, Ultra Magnetic, Boogie Down Production, you name it, Big Daddy Kane, you name it, you know.
Well, as you say that, I remember the thing was I always thought Michie Me, because she got down with First Priority and was down with MC Light and King of Chill and all them. I thought
Yeah,
she was gonna have a
yeah,
big thing breaking through.
yeah.
So as you saw her rising as well, like how did that affect or impact you seeing that she was breaking through with Light and the First Priority team?
Yeah, Mission Me is one of her measuring sticks. I remember watching the Cool G Rap interview when he was mentioning like Rakim and Big Daddy Kane. Those were his measuring sticks, right? So to
Right.
me, Mission Me and LA Love and the Dream Warriors, those were mine. Where it's like it's happening. It's really happening. It's about to go down. And when you saw the back of the Boogie Down Production, the Criminal Minded album, when you see the liner notes, it said shout out to Ron Nelson, who I just mentioned earlier, and the Toronto Posse. To me, we already knew we were dope. But when New York, that's a big brother. That's our big brother. When New York, when a big brother gives us love, it kind of validates us. That's how we feel. So when we saw that, it was like we knew it was on and popping. And Scott LaRock produced a joint for Michi Me and LA Love called Elements of Style back in 1987, featuring the Blastmaster KRS-One. So when we saw that, it's like, okay, it's happening, you know, it's happening. And then little later on, in like 1990, the Dream Warriors went on tour. I believe Gangstar was opening up for them in the UK. You see what I'm saying? So things was happening, in terms of Toronto artists, you know. So when I started doing my thing, like I said, it was like 82, 83 under the name of Melody MC, right? So when people started calling me old, I said, man, I got to reinvent myself. I got to come with something else, man, you know? And that's why I came with the Maestro Fresh West. And that's when it's like, Houston, we got a problem, you know? That's when it was real, you know. And
Yeah.
there's a legendary dance artist by the name of Stevie B. He came to Toronto to perform in a show called Electric Circus, and that's where a lot of artists from New York or the states, if they came to Toronto, you got to go on Electric Circus. So that's where I met Schoolie D. Brand Nubian, Lord Jamar told me recently that they were on Electric Circus as well, you know? So Stevie B performed when I performed the song for the very first time called Let Your Backbone Slide. And he connected us with his label that he was signed to, LMR Records. And then the rest is history. So enough respect to Stevie B for that.
Yeah. And LMR got you, at least, like I was saying, in Maryland, we definitely knew who you were and everything. But with the Let Your Backbone Slide in the video, I remember you were wearing a tuxedo and a lot, and Symphony in Effect was the album. So what, and this is something that's continued throughout your career, Orchestrated Noise album title, all these different things, Black Tuxedo EP. So why has the symphony orchestra, why has that always been such a long running theme for you?
Cause so I'm a concept driven artist. You know what I'm saying? It's like what separates you from somebody else. You know, a lot of artists. You know, it's one thing to assimilate, but there's something else to innovate. And I try to find something that separates me from everybody else. You know, just a sprinkle on it, just a sprinkle on it a bit. And I think that's all it was to appreciate the fact that this is what makes me. This is one of the things that make me separate from other MCs, especially from Toronto, what have you. You know, to differentiate with. So that was the main reason for that.
Okay. And then with Drop the Needle and Let Your Backbone Slide, there was so much dancing in both of the videos. And of course, a lot of videos had a lot of that at the time. But I would say yours might even be way more than the average, even for the era. So
Yeah,
why?
yeah. What
So
were you
what?
going to say?
No, I was going to say. So why was that such a big focus for you visually to have in your videos?
Cause like breakdancing was we really appreciated that. And one of my mentors rather, was Big Daddy Kane. You know, Kane had Scoop and Scrap. So my original dancers was these brothers named Mikey and Larry, went by Rocky and Bullwinkle. Then after that, so they were in Let Your Backbone Slide. And then after that, when Drop the Needle came out, we had Frankie and Derek. Rest in peace, Frankie. Like he was one of that crew right there dancing. They're from the west end of the city. Like, I'm from Scarborough, the east. So it was like me from the east and them guys from the west end brought Toronto together. And very similar to what Missy Me was doing, where she's from the west end Toronto and her dancers from the east. You see what I'm saying? So, but when Frankie and Derek came down, and the thing is, originally they used to dance for Dream Warriors. You know what I'm saying? They're from the same neighborhood as the Dream Warriors, but they I guess they felt more compatible to like my beats and stuff that I had, my type of production. Because the Dream Warriors, they were on a whole different level altogether, you know.
Okay.
So dancing was very important, and I think that's what really enhanced the videos, whatnot, no doubt.
For sure, because speaking of Big Daddy Kane, obviously he had Scoop and Scrap and they danced in the videos sometimes and this and that. But yours were striking because there'd be a lot of times when you weren't even on the screen. It'd be like 10, 20 seconds of people dancing
Yeah,
and you weren't even on screen,
yeah.
and I thought that was, I remember as a kid that always just stuck with me like, wow, this is different.
Maybe the video director thought I was ugly. I don't know. You know. No, but all jokes aside, it was like that was a very important component, especially back then, because those guys felt, we felt they were just as good. They were up there with Scoop and Scrap. You see what I'm saying? They were really dope dancers, man. And I miss those days, man. Those days were dope.
For
Definitely.
sure. And I also thought on Let Your Backbone Slide, I loved how you mentioned all the currency from the different countries. So do you remember why that interested you and why you wanted to do that?
Just to be different, man. Just to show that hip hop is international, and I'm trying to do international things. That's all. But I'm glad you caught on that, man. That's cool. That's cool.
Now, I remember when I first heard the song, I was like, wow, he's breaking down all these different currencies. That's pretty cool. Um, so at that time, you also talked about another thing because I hadn't traveled at all really much and definitely not internationally. And I do remember kind of like with special ed, but you said, oh, when I'm in France, I'll do this. When I'm in England, I'll do that. So
Yeah.
had you traveled yet, or is that you were
No,
just
no,
rapping?
no. That was before I went to France. I did perform in France. You know what I'm saying? I did, and they did fly me francs. But that was before. That was before all that. That was just me trying to do something slick with bars, like on a special ed tip, as you said. You know,
Okay. So manifesting, I guess.
I was manifesting it. You know.
And one other thing too, I remember was the on the video for Let Your Backbone Slide. I always remember this and talking all that jazz with Stetsasonic, how you were rapping on the stairs, kind of like a courtroom going up. Like, was that intentional coincidence or just
That must have been a coincidence, man. I mean, I love steps, but I didn't even think of that now until you told me that. You know.
okay?
But
No,
yeah. I remember it now. Now that you said that, I remember that.
okay, yeah, because I know people forget that things would have such a delay back then because it's not instant like things are now. So you might have. I'm not saying which one was first, but I'm saying if you had filmed yours in June and they filmed theirs in August, neither one of you would know until September or
Nah,
all.
nah. But I didn't. I'm only now thinking about that because I'm remembering them guys walking up with talking all that jazz. Now I didn't even think of that before.
Okay. No, it's all good. And then with um being I've been to Toronto a few times and I know that the scene there is very robust. And I'd been there, I think my first time was in the 90s. But my question is when you saw the videos getting some exposure and some reach into the United States, did that make a big difference for you, or was it still not? You couldn't really tell a big difference because you were doing so well in Canada. Like, how did that work?
Now I remember when we went to Virginia, we did a show in Norfolk, and I was like, "Wow, man! Oh my goodness, this is dope. I'm really getting that support over here in America as well." You know, so yes, it was very important to break in your own country. You know, because that was never done before. You know, "Let Your Backbone Slide" is the first single from a Canadian hip hop artist to ever go gold or platinum. I'm the first Black artist ever in Canada to ever reach that accolade. You know,
Really?
so, yeah,
Congratulations.
God bless, man. God bless. That's why I'm getting inducted in the Canadian Music Hall of Fame soon. You know, so but yeah, we always appreciated America, man. That was a big brother, definitely. So I remember doing that out in Virginia specifically. I was like, wow, man.
Now, were
That
you at Norfolk State, or do you remember?
it was at a festival, man. It was a festival. I remember Melba Moore was there, man.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they had some swap meet or whatever, and I seen that dude Stoney Jackson walk by. I didn't say nothing, but I know that was Stoney Jackson
Oh, wow.
walk by. Yeah, man, I'll never forget that.
Okay. And then, uh, what was the response in real time with the artists? Because it's weird. I know a lot of times New York is very xenophobic, generally speaking, when it comes to people not from New York. But I also know the artists tend to be a lot more interactive and friendly than people realize.
Yeah,
So, what was your experience coming
always
to
got love. I always got love with artists, man. Always. You know what I'm saying? What you said, you hit the nail on the head. But like, you got to think about it. I seen like I wasn't there at this specific show, but MC Rumble, who's an artist from Scarborough, where I'm from, he battled KRS-One with Biz Markie, beatboxing for KRS. You know, and after all that, they wanted to work together. That was right before Scott LaRock got killed, man. They're like, yo, so Scott wanted to help out Toronto. You see what I'm saying? I don't think KRS-One knows the impact that BDP made on Toronto hip hop, man, because that single there, Elements of Style, was what Mission Me and LA Love. But like KRS-One having like, Jamaican heritage and MC Rumble having Jamaican heritage as well. He saw the connection and they wanted to do more stuff with artists, you know what I'm saying? When I met 45 King, he did a Drop the Needle remix, man. Rest in peace. He treated me like yo, what's good, you know? It was love. Later on, the Chuck D, Public Enemy. When I saw my name at the back of the Fear of the Black Planet album, I'm like, yo, that was like validation in a way for the big brother. Um, but I always got love. Later on with Showbiz, when Showbiz met me, it was like that was it. Like he just welcomed me with open arms, man. And that was like 1990, 92. You know.
Yeah, that's incredible.